Hi, this is Dean Hartman, and I know you're interested in selling your home, and I'm interested in helping you get it sold. So, we're going to start working towards building a relationship together. And before we meet face to face or have a Zoom call or phone conversation, I think it probably be good if you got to know me, things I believe, the way I operate, maybe get a sense of whether or not you'll even like dealing with me. So that's the purpose of this video. So let me start right in. I have a few business philosophies. One of them is I believe that 90% of everybody in every profession is mediocre or worse. And while you can afford to have a mediocre barber and get a mediocre haircut because your hairs are going to grow back, when it comes to selling your house, your biggest asset usually, you can't afford to have a mediocre real estate agent. You also can't afford to have a mediocre attorney or anybody in the process who's mediocre. It's too important for your family, your future, your finances. So understand that I consider myself a top 10% operator, and I surround myself with top 10% people because it's that important for me to offer that kind of service, that expertise, that competency, that effectiveness to everybody that I take under my care. And that is the definition of a client, right? There's customers, those are people who pay you. Then there are clients, and clients are people who are under your care, and you have a responsibility to take care of them. I find that most people choose to work with people that either they know already or they bump into and they like. They met them at a little league field or a soccer field or a PTA meeting or something along those lines. That isn't necessarily the best way to pick the best agent to work with. And yes, it's good if you can like the people you're working with, but your goal here should be, I think, to find the most effective people to work with. So I want to spend a few minutes explaining to you what I think are the telltale signs of who's effective and who's not, or at least give you a way to measure, and you can decide what's important to you, what's crucial to you, what isn't that big of a deal to you. All right, so let's start with the marketing plan for the agent you're going to work with. How did you find them? Because I have always defined marketing as anything done to acquire a customer. So if you're meeting with an agent, they've at least gotten an opportunity to acquire you as a customer. Whatever they did to get there is marketing. Hopefully you were referred to them by somebody who already worked with them and knows their reputation, or you were struck by their social media presence or an ad or a postcard or something else caught your eye and you invited them into your home or invited a conversation with them. That's a judge of their marketing, how they market themselves, right? But more than that, when you check on them, right, and you should, and most people do, Google whoever they're going to work with. What is their online reputation, right? What do past clients say about them? Do they have testimonials? Do they have, a history of doing business a certain way? When they're marketing homes, what are they doing to market those homes? What is the quality of the photos they're taking? Is there video? Is there drone footage? Is there, floor plans or Matterport photos? What are they doing that makes their marketing better than anybody else? Most agents, when they come to sit with you, will tell you about the 50 websites that they have and the nice flyers they're going to produce and the open houses they're going to do. What are they going to do to market your home? And it's hard to judge because pretty much everybody says the same thing with minor variations. Well, what are those variations and how important are they to you? And how can they prove it? So you really want to look at how they've marketed themselves and their services and their brand and their reputation as a telltale sign. But also find some of their properties, see how their company operates, right? And what their reputation is in the community. That's important. The next thing is you're going to meet with this agent, whether it's initially over the phone or you're going to get face to face. That intake interview, where it's a getting to know you process, what vibes are they giving off? Are they coming organized? The printed materials they have, do they look like they've been in their briefcase for 20 years and they're reusing them? They haven't been updated, or they're beat up, or are they crisp? Are they fresh? Are they colorful? Are they topical? During their presentation, are they talking statistics and numbers? Are they talking about what's going on in today's market? Are they giving you insight that you don't have for yourself, right? Or are they just filling out forms? Are they asking you what you're trying to accomplish, or are they vomiting out onto the kitchen table how great they are, how wonderful they are, their experience and their plan and their this and their that, and it's all about them, right? Because I'm of the firm belief that everybody involved in this transaction is about you and what you're trying to accomplish, and not everybody is the same. Some clients, I would probably even say a majority of clients, are concerned with how can I make the most money from this transaction. But that's not everybody. Some people are saying, how can I do this with as less stress as possible, less interference in my everyday life, with less pain, better communication, better, a better sense of I know what's going on, and a comfort that the people involved care about me and my outcome and what the next step is in my life, as opposed to just how do we get this transaction closed. Well, people only care about the numbers, but you have to know what you want, and a good agent is going to make sure they find out what you want and why you want it, and help you achieve what you're looking for as opposed to what they're looking for, right? So some people want to sell and they have to sell this week or this month. Some people say, if I move by the fall, it's fine. We're having a house built, we're moving here, we're doing that. We're not in a real rush. Well, I would have a different pricing strategy, a different marketing plan based on the timing of what's going on. Right, so really take the time to analyze what the agent has put in before they came to meet with you. Were they prepared with their CMA, their market analysis to come up with numbers? Like, did they do their homework, and did they come prepared? When you ask them questions, do they have thought out, transparent answers, or are they backpedaling, giving you salesy talk or whatever? What's your comfort that they are competent, transparent, and listening? That intake interview will give you a good sense. Your gut feeling will tell you whether or not this is somebody you want to work with or not. During the process, as you're getting to know each other, does the agent talk about more than themselves, right? We have a list of 98 things that an agent likely will do during the process of selling your home, right? To me, it's the reason why I wouldn't sell my home myself. I would hire a professional to do it, right? So if I'm going to hire a professional because 98 things is a lot and I don't do them every day, well, it's a lot for the agent too. They're still one person, and I'm assuming they're successful. They have more than one client at any given time. So they have 2, 3, 4 clients. They have hundreds of things to be taken care of. Do you want to be working with an agent who's all by themselves? They're the one-armed paper hanger? Or do you want an agent who has a team around them of other professionals that support them? So there's really 2 teams your agent should be talking about. One is their internal team, right? The team that works directly for them or within their company, that does, maybe somebody does just the administrative stuff. the data entry into the multiple listing service. They order the signs, they order the marketing materials, they do clerical type functions. Maybe there's somebody else who follows up every time a showing is done to get feedback. Maybe there's somebody else who comes to the open houses to interact with clients. Maybe there's somebody else who's putting together any kind of unique marketing plan. Maybe they have a video person or whatever. What's their internal structure where the 98 things are being handled by somebody, not directly the agent, but somebody that works with or for the agent, so that it's getting done by somebody who's better than them at it, right? Like, I'm not the greatest typist in the whole world. I would need somebody else who was going to type my database or the information into the system. So understand that agent needs an internal team, but maybe more important is what's their external team look like. What do I mean? The external team is everybody else in the transaction. You can have the best agent in the whole world, but if the loan officer involved in the transaction is a knucklehead, you're in trouble. If the real estate attorney you have is really a corporate attorney that doesn't do a lot of real estate, or the real estate they do is multi-million-dollar buildings, commercial buildings, and you have a residential transaction, that attorney is more likely than not the right attorney. You need an agent who has a team of professionals around them that understand the type of transaction you're doing, the situation you're in, to make sure you're getting the best outcome. Right? There are some attorneys that get crazy about a CO for a deck because technically and legally it's this or that, but that's not the real world we live in. And you need an attorney that understands the real world compared to technical world. You want an attorney who communicates with you, that you can get on the phone. You want somebody who took the time to ask you questions, right? That communicates with the other attorney, that communicates with the agent. Communication is, a mentor of mine used to say, communication is a lubrication of a good transaction. You want an agent who communicates with you and communicates with the lawyer, communicates with the lender, communicates with the home inspector, is there for the answer and be prepared for the appraisal, all the other things that happen during the transaction. You need an agent that has resources that you could tap into. Maybe you need to spruce up your house a little bit before you start showing it. Throw up a coat of paint, clean up some of the shrubberies outside. You need an agent who says, here's my Rolodex, let's call this person and have them come do it, right? Maybe the difference between one agent and another agent could be the agent that talks to you about what are you doing after your close. You're netting $300,000, $400,000 out of the sale of your house. What are you doing with the money? Are you buying another house? Are they offering to help you? Are they offering to find you an agent in South Carolina because that's where you want to move to work with? What are they doing? Often, people are selling now and moving in with family. And so now they have all this money. Maybe they need a really good financial planner. Maybe they need an estate attorney. Maybe they need a tax advisor. Every day, we need to have these people, and most of us don't have somebody to either draw up our will or give us tax advice or shelter our money for our estate so that our inheritance doesn't all go to the IRS in New York State, right? You need a realtor who could tell you, listen, I'm not an expert at this, but I know somebody who is. And that external team is the difference often between a very successful transaction and a moderately successful. The agent might have technically done their job perfectly well, but you didn't get the service or everything out of it that you could have. So you need to be talking to your agent about that. Also, you want to obviously talk to agents about their experience. You want to know that they know what they're doing, that they have a level of expertise. How do you figure that out? Well, one, you can look at list of transactions they've done. You could look at the designations on their name. But to me, the most important thing I would be doing is asking people, not for a list of homes you sold, but a list of clients you worked with. And I would randomly pick 3 or 4 people, and I would call them. and find out what the experience was like. Because let's say communication is crucially important to you. You want to talk to that agent regularly, or at least once a week, or whatever your standard is. I would talk to other clients they had to see if that's the way they operated. Because everybody's going to tell you what you want to hear. They're trying to get you to sign on the dotted line, right? A great agent, that top 10% agent, as opposed to that 90% or below agent who's mediocre, will ask you how you want to be communicated with. Do you want to get a phone call once a week? Do you want to, should I just call the husband or just call the wife? Or are we calling both of them? Is it a conference call? Or would you rather just get an email status or a text? What happens after an offer is made? How are we going to communicate with each other during the negotiating period? All of those expectations should be decided up front, and your agent should be talking to you about it when you meet with them during that intake interview. Because most relationships, business and personal, get messed up because of differing expectations. Your definition of what great service is or good service is or acceptable service might be different than mine, right? You got to get all those issues up and out on the table. And then amongst yourselves, even before you meet with an agent, you have to come to a few thought processes. One is, are you looking to make a friend, or are you looking for somebody who's going to be effective, right? The analogy I hear all the time is, do you want a great surgeon, or do you want a great doctor or a good doctor, not a great one, with a great bedside manner? Somebody who's going to talk to you nice or sugarcoat things. Or some people want to be sugarcoated too. Some people are looking for a buddy, somebody. Just be honest with yourself. To me, if it were me, and when I sell my house, the decision I will make is based on what the agent's going to deliver for me, whether it's in price or in service or whatever else. In business, you can be three things. You can be good, you can be fast, or you can be cheap. A really good business is two of the three. It's impossible to be all three. You can't be great at what you do. You can't be really quick at getting it done and give it away. Right? There's a difference between McDonald's and Peter Luger's, because Peter Luger's decided we want to be quality, we want to be good, we want to give great service, but we're going to charge you for it. McDonald's went the other way. We're going to be as far as quality of product, but we're going to give you good, fast service, and we're going to be cheap. What's the business model you want to pick when you go into picking a real estate agent? You want good, fast, and cheap? What do you want? And sometimes two people who are selling a house have different opinions about that. You should clear that up, what your priorities are and everything before you get involved. So decide, do I want an agent who's proven effective but might be a little rough around the edges? Or do I want somebody who's going to be, a pen pal for the next 30 years of my life? No judgment, just decide who you want to be. I would also pin my agent down to, how are they going to communicate? Is it a weekly call? I've always coached agents on, if it were me, I would set aside an hour every week, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, and I'd be making a phone call, or today maybe a Zoom call, to every one of my sellers to give them an update of what's happened with the house in that week. And then if during the week there was a showing, my assistant would take the feedback from the agent who showed the house and contact the seller so that they would know it. If there was an open house, obviously that weekend, there'd be a little bit more communication to organize things. But the idea being, at least once a week, I'd have a face-to-face Zoom call with all of my clients so that they knew I was on top of it and I knew what was going on and that they knew what was going on, because that was important. Now, if there are some clients that want to talk to their agent or their loan officer every day, when nothing new has happened. And that would drive me crazy, and we wouldn't be a good fit. There are some people in the mortgage business or in the real estate business who are happy to operate that way. But you need to decide what your definition of good communication is and make sure that your agent, your loan officer, believe the same way, right? The old days you said the golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Business, really, the platinum rule is do unto others the way they want to be done unto. So you need to define what you want. You need to express it to your agent, and your agent has to decide if they can live up to that standard, or are you being unreasonable? That's fair. Agreeing on expectations up front give you the best chance to have a good relationship. Then usually when I talk to clients or people go into a listing presentation, the seller typically has only two things that they know that they want to know, right? All these other things they may not have given thought to. Now I'm encouraging you to, but usually sellers care about two things. Who's going to sell my house for the most money, and who's going to charge me the least, right? So let's talk about that. I don't think what 2 or 3 agents who come in and tell you what your house is going to sell for really matters that much, nor do I think it should vary very much. They're all looking at the same data, and it shouldn't really vary. And quite honestly, their opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. The only opinion that matters is the buyer's opinion. Because you could think your house is worth $600,000. The agent could come and tell you, here's 10 comps that say it's worth $600,000. But if nobody wants to pay $600,000, it's not worth $600,000. Or if 5 people want to pay $600,000 and they get into a bidding war and it goes up to $625,000, it's not worth $600,000 anymore. It's $625,000. So your value, it might be a starting point. The agent's might be a starting point. But pricing on the house is not really determined by the seller or the agent. It's determined by the buyer. You have to understand that. So an agent should not be talking to you about what they're going to get you for the house, because unless they're buying the house themselves, they can't control that. And some agents will inflate a number to make you feel better so that you'll list with them, and it's not real. And in actuality, it might be hurting you because the house is worth $600,000 and they say they're going to get $650,000 and they're going to put it into the MLS at $650,000, and everybody who's out shopping for houses sees your house, but then they see that price tag, they say, well, I'm not going to pay $650,000, so I'm not even going to go look at it. Right? So agents shouldn't be talking to you about the price as much as they should be talking to you about strategy. How the price that you're going to pick, the price point, has the opportunity to get you the largest number, right? The most people who are qualified to come and look at your house. Because the best way to get the highest price is to have more people want it. More people are going to want it because they came to see it. More people are going to come to see it if the price is aggressive and looks like they're getting a deal. And so they'll come look at it, then they'll fall in love with your house, and then you have a chance for a bidding war. You know, people pitted against each other and their egos get involved. That's when you're going to get the highest price. And so agents that talk, I'll get you $650,000, probably aren't doing the right thing. In my mind, I'd be working with an agent who says, let's go for $575,000, have everybody think it's a deal, and then what does it mean we'll accept $575,000? It means that that's where we're going to start. And people who are at $550,000 that think, oh, maybe I could stretch to $575,000 because it's really worth $6,000 are going to come look at your house, and then they're going to love your house. And then we have more people who love your house. The more people who love your house is what's going to get you the highest price. So we need to talk strategy, even price points. People search by usually $50,000 increments. That's why you see so many prices at $599 as opposed to $600. It's the same number, right? But people are searching in the $550 to $599 bucket are going to show up. If you go to $600, they're never going to even see your house. So You need an agent who understands how the systems work, how human nature is, and is going to help you use the price point as a strategic tool, not necessarily, puffing up the price so that you're going to pay more or think you're going to get more, because it really doesn't matter what you think. Okay? Further, commission. To me, commission comes into judging an agent on their negotiating skills. And we all think we have a sense of humor, and I've met many people who don't have a sense of humor. Right? We all think we can negotiate. I've met many people who can't negotiate. Understand that if you're going to talk to an agent and you're going to negotiate on their commission, and you win the negotiation, you get them to reduce their commission, that's an agent you shouldn't hire. In my opinion, agent says to you, I want 5% to sell your $500,000 house, and you get them down to 4%, you think you won? You saved 1% on the commission, you saved $5,000. So on one side of this argument is, hey, you saved $5,000. But what you need to understand is if an agent is willing to give up $5,000 when that's their money, that's their family's bank account, that's where they're negotiating for themselves, and they cave on $5,000. When it comes to negotiating the price of your house, how quick do you think they're going to cave for your money? You might save $5,000 in commission and lose $20,000 in price. Is that a win for you? You need to hire an agent who knows what they're worth and sticks to their guns. That might be the best advice of this whole half hour. You honestly need to have an agent who, when they're negotiating on their own behalf, knows what they are worth and says, I'm not working for less. The people who work for less are either desperate because they need it, or they're not great negotiators. And you need a great negotiator, right? 90% are mediocre or worse. Top 10%, when it comes to negotiation, isn't just for price. You're going to have some dings in your house, some repairs that a home inspector is going to call for. That's going to be negotiated. Closing dates. Other terms. You want to stay in the house a week after close because you want to pack up and do whatever. All those things are negotiated. You want an agent that negotiates and trades off, and if price is the most important thing to you, gets you the best price. If net dollars is the most, they do what that needs to be done. If it's closing dates are the crucial item, it's I don't want to do any work, or I don't mind if I have to go get the CO for the garage conversion, or whatever it is. There are things that get negotiated, and it's not usually done by the attorneys. It's usually done by your realtor. You need a realtor with good negotiating, dare I say, great negotiating skills. And the way to test, two ways. How are they negotiating on their behalf? That's commission. And second, you've called people that they've closed with, right? The testimonials they gave you, you've called those people. Ask them about the negotiations, how they went. Did they feel that they got everything that they could have gotten, right? Or did that agent settle or cave or whatever else? It's important for you to know. Once you've listed your house, you're going to start getting offers on your house. The last thing I want to talk about is how important it is that the agent you're working with is actually vetting those offers. Not just saying, here's 5 offers, here's the prices that they offer, and this is the type of loan that your buyer's looking for, and they might want a seller's concession, or this is when they're going to close, and they're going to present you offers, right? The number used to be, recently, like a year or two ago, 30% of deals that went to contract never close. And that usually is because the pre-approval that the loan officer gave to the buyer wasn't worth the paper it was written on. The loan officer didn't really do their job. They didn't analyze the income. They didn't really go through the credit. They didn't make sure the people had all the right amount of money that they needed, or the people had to sell a house that didn't get sold, or whatever. There were problems and deals fell apart. It's up to your agent to protect you from that as much as possible. And my experience has shown me that agents who work with loan officers to vet all the offers that come in, that when an offer comes with a pre-approval from a lender, your agent's lender gets involved, and they either speak directly to your buyer and look at their paperwork themselves, or they talk to the loan officer to get a comfort level that all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed. That the pre-approval is a real pre-approval, not just the people said they made $80,000. Here's a pre-approval. You'd be shocked how often that happens. So you want an agent who not only is vetting offers themselves based on price and some of the terms that you're looking for, but you want an agent who's working with a loan officer that understands that if the financing doesn't come through, if there's a CO issue on your house and the lender they're dealing with isn't going to accept it, the things that experience truly give you, you need an agent who's working with a loan officer who's doing those things on your behalf. It's important. And they're part of their team, that external team we talked about. So I hope in this video you got a lot of a sense that the people I work with, the people we work with, have this holistic, we want to put a bubble wrap around our clients and take care of them approach. And make sure that they're avoiding the common mistakes, and that if an uncommon bump in the road shows up, that we will help you, and that we have the expertise, the experience, and the attitude, and the communication to get it fixed. Because that's why you should be working with the people on my team. We'll get face-to-face soon. You'll ask me questions about all the things I presented to you today, but really understand that when we get together, I want the conversation to be about you. I want to know what you're looking for. I want to know your priorities, your timing, your motivation, your beliefs, right? Like, don't come to the meeting thinking you don't have an opinion about what your house is worth, because you have one. Of course you have one. And I want to have a frank and open conversation, because our relationship is going to be based on transparency. I'll be transparent. I want you to be transparent. And I want to get to either this is a great relationship and we're going to have a successful transaction and long-term future, or we're not the right fit, and then we shake hands and we be friends. So I hope to be in front of you soon, and I will talk to you then. Thank you.